my theory is that we're not creating that great of people.
Yeah.
To marry to.
That is true.
You're not married. We're not grooming marriage material.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? At this level, and critical race theory could be playing a part in this also. At this level, we are not grooming people to be married.
No, we're not.
Every song, let's just take media.
Yeah.
Let's just go to the propaganda of media. Every song that is really, really large to us, really big, wins awards, none of them have nothing to do with being married to.
No, it has to do with sex.
It has to do with it's sex.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that sex is a tool in being married.
Correct. It's a tool. It's a
tool to be used. Yes.
It's for procreation.
It's for procreation.
We just happen to enjoy
it. You can enjoy it also.
Yeah.
But like everything else, there's this thing called moderation.
Correct.
And moderation is even waiting until you get married. But that's for me in my head right now. It's an extreme for our culture to do that, to wait until we get married. Yeah. It's a big extreme. Everybody's like, why? Whoa. You know why it's an extreme? Because you made it a normal. You made this thing. You made it a normal thing.
Yeah.
To almost procreate with somebody.
Yeah.
With several people.
Yeah.
Before you get to the person you say you want to spend the rest of your life with. Back right here on the D&D Leveling Up Podcast. You understand? Today on the docket we're gonna circle back around to some things that we said we were going to talk about.
We haven't got to them yet.
Which we haven't got to them yet. So just y'all hold your britches real quick.
We promise to get to everything. Sometimes we get excited and we tend to have a lot of information that needs to be talked about, but we never end up getting to all the things we want to get to. So don't worry, we will talk about it.
Big excitement in the studio. You got to stay excited.
Exactly.
I was saying anything before we get to our subject, you got to stay excited. Even if you got to fake your excitement till you feel a certain way.
Exactly.
Your body knows that you're faking that, and it'll send those endorphins to help you celebrate it. Smile, get up, make some moves, do some things, okay?
Motivate yourself. One thing I heard that they say your endorphins and the energy in your body starts to build momentum when you smile. Because it sends chemicals to your body that you're happy. Even if you're not smiling, even if you're not happy and you don't want to smile, by forcing yourself to smile, it creates a chemical reaction in you to create happiness.
Yes, sir.
Gets those chemicals going, the dopamine or whatever the case may be, or serotonin. I don't know which one it is. If there's a doctor out there, you correct me. But it certainly gets you motivated. All right, brother man.
Getting into this CRT.
CRT, the critical race theory, guys. We're getting a little deep today. We get deep on our Black Panther movement type of on our swag today. That Black Panther movement. All about the peoples today. So you know what critical race theory is, right? Critical race theory basically talks about the aspects of racism in our society, how it affects us as a society, and it also delves into the things that we don't want to deal with in society, the combinations of racism and what historically it's done to our society. Black and white people. It could be, I guess, it could be applied to other things, but mostly it's applied to the fact of one thing that people have an issue with is trying to get critical race theory in schools. They don't want to teach the correlation between racism and history. And that's a problem to me. Because you should want to explore what are the things that are causing us to have things. It might be white guilt. It might be black scarred psyches and consciousness. And a lot of people don't want to deal with it. So, I could understand if you're a Caucasian person, you don't want to be considered that you're a racist, but there's a racist infrastructure that's in place that many people who are Caucasian are benefiting from.
That's what I was gonna allude to, because you got to make sure that this system that you're talking about putting critical race theory material into wasn't made with the things that created this that created the things that you're keeping away.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So is school really? We can talk about this. Was school really made for us to find out the things that were being done to us?
Correct. I mean, they're not, because history is made by the people who create history, right?
There it is.
It's his story.
By the winners.
By the winners.
It's the story. It's not the story. It may not be the correct story, but it's the story that got told by the winners.
Correct. It's your story, his story, and then there's the truth.
And then there's the truth.
You know, and a lot of times the truth doesn't come through in history, and we know this. So the issue really is discovering where that correlation between racism in society and also in history, and getting back to the present. What are we doing about it? This is the thing. Nobody wants to do anything about it because people feel guilty about it. But then guess what? It's hard for someone to say, well, I'm dealing with this, but then I've got to address this, but I've already received benefits from the fact that these things are already being in place. Now, does that mean I need to subject myself to be now a slave mentality? Or do I not get all the things that I want to do because I am from another culture? Because see, the thing is, we always try to make this situation. I was looking at an application the other day. The application goes, are you Hispanic or non-Hispanic? And then it says race. And it says, African American, Caucasian, white, or whatever the case be, Asian, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, there's only one human race. And this was taught to me by my professor, who happened to be Caucasian. He was saying this. No, we're all a human race. We all can procreate with each other. So we all bleed blood the same way. We all have intelligence.
True.
It's just that we have different ethnicities and different cultures because we come from different geographical places in the world. And so if you were Chinese, even if you were black, this color, and brown, and someone dropped you into China, you'll be speaking Cantonese or Mandarin.
Yeah.
Regardless. And you would be part of that culture. Then it might not consider you to be Oriental, but you are part of that culture. That culture you've assimilated because that's where you've been born into. And a lot of times people don't understand is that we assimilate different cultures based on our atmosphere and on our upbringing. So that's why you have a certain amount of people thinking about a certain amount of things. My biggest thing is that I think critical race theory is an issue because a lot of times people, probably Caucasian people and black people, don't want to deal with it.
No.
First of all, they don't even know what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the main things. There are 5 components to critical race theory. The 5 tenets of critical race, there are 5 major components of critical race. Is the notion that racism is ordinary and not aberrational, which is, it's nothing that's coming against anybody. It's not affecting anybody. It doesn't affect me. Well, it doesn't. It's really hard when it doesn't affect your culture. It doesn't affect your culture. It doesn't really make a difference. You don't even see it because it's not in your face anymore. Number 2, the idea of entrance convergence and the social structure of race, and the idea of storytelling and counter storytelling, and the notion that whites have actually been. Let me see what they actually say in the rest of this component. Let me see. Hold on. Where does it say? Dang it. It didn't give me the whole thing. Just bear with me, guys. Probably actually been benefiting from the fact of racism in society. So that's where we're at right now. A lot of this bothers me because you have people who are Caucasian. There's white guilt. They feel like, you know what? I wasn't a slave owner, so I don't really need to address this situation. Why should I? You weren't a slave owner. You weren't a slave. I never enslaved you. But you still benefit from all the things that people in the past who happen to have control over people of color have now. So how do we get to that point where we can address this? And because I even looked at Governor DeSantis of Florida, though he does some interesting things because he had some issues with Disney and the LGBT community, because Disney is a very proponent of the LGBT community. So, but DeSantis, there's a law where basically it doesn't allow for sexual things to be taught for grades kindergarten up to third grade to protect children from these type of teachings. So Disney got on their high horse or their soapbox and says we're going to start creating problems because of that. And DeSantis was like, excuse me, I'm the governor, and we're going to start shutting down all the jurisdictions that you have, because Disney has a lot of power in Orlando because they pretty much have their own police force. They have their own town. They've been allowed to have jurisdiction over certain areas that they have land over, in which they pretty much run that whole area. The whole area, yeah. So he's starting to break that down because they started to seem like they wanted to go to court with the state of Florida based on these laws. And I was like, you're a private company. Why do you have anything to do with that?
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
You are using this area that you reside in, and you're going to go against an entire state.
Exactly, because you don't like the law.
You don't like the law.
Because obviously there must be people who are in the LGBT community in Disney who are pushing that agenda, by the way, in Disney films, in Disney Watch, and anything that has to do with Disney, and that's a propensity to get into our society. Now, like I said before, we're not against anybody who's doing what they do in your personal life, but I don't think that should be an agenda that you have to create your own group in order to do that. Everyone should have the right to do whatever you want to do. You shouldn't be special because you do that. It shouldn't be you have to supplant civil rights with gay rights. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a right to do whatever they want to do.
That right there is that's where I draw like a strong line there, man. Don't mix the two struggles.
Exactly.
Don't do that. Don't try and mix it and then use the momentum that we created to help your struggle. Everybody has their own thing going on, but use what you got.
Yeah.
Just like we went and got it out the mud.
Exactly.
We got, you know what I'm saying? It's people that have passed on without it being natural causes.
Yeah. For
this situation, and it is a systemic thing. It is something that has we understand. We both got laws against our two different issues.
Correct.
Some of us are mixing our issue. Yeah. Some of us have the race thing along with the LGBTQ thing. But this is not headed I don't believe this thing is headed anywhere good.
No, it couldn't be.
It can't be.
Yeah.
Because there are certain things that children shouldn't be exposed to until they get to a certain level.
Yeah, exactly.
A certain, you know what I'm saying, a certain level of maturity, age, and there are things that are going to come out of us being. I see it just like being lawless.
It is lawless. There's no standard.
It's going to be law. There's no standard.
Exactly.
I have, been working in the school system. I have seen where when I was growing up, there were certain things that governed us to be the people we are even today.
Yeah. Boundaries.
There's certain boundaries. There were certain things that just were put in place so that we would become better people in society, or better husbands, better brothers, better kings, and they're being it's being destroyed.
It is.
It's being completely destroyed. I have several examples of young boys who are
Here's what I found.
If they chose to today, they would be a girl.
Yeah.
And I got girls that gonna choose to be boys, and it's like, where do we draw
the line?
Where do we draw the line, bro?
Yeah, because the thing about it is that we've allowed children to make their own decisions, and that's the problem with these parents. Like, even I had to think about with even my child. Like, I was asking her, and she was like, I want you to come with me to do this thing this weekend, right? She was telling me, well, I might have something to do on this weekend. You think I could tell my father I have something to do on this weekend? There's no asking. There was no asking, because, see, the thing is that you have to understand, sometimes with the dynamic with another individual, that's the whole problem with living with different parents on different sides in different households. One person says one thing, another person says another thing. So when you give your child too many options, when the other adult says, okay, we're enforcing things, then it becomes a problem, because now you can't say, well, I'm not even asking you. This is not a request. This is what you're going to do. And that's how I was raised. There was no request on my part. Like, well, I don't really want to do that because I have to do. No, you're doing it because you're my child and I told you what to do. Simple as that. But now you can't do that nowadays, because the other parent tells the child that they have options to do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. You can't enforce anything because you both are not on the same page. That's why it's terrible for people to be divorced, because then now you don't have a solid foundation to keep the child on track, because now the child is raising themselves.
Yeah, I believe it gets back to, I believe all of the things that some people may feel are harsh or overbearing or controlling. Sometimes those things just get into what the person before you has purposed for the family to do. And I believe this is really, really just a war on family.
Yeah.
Because once we find out once we get to a point where your brother's your sister and your sister's your brother, and neither one of them want to be responsible enough to do anything for family. Yeah. Because they're trying to figure out who they figured out who they are, but now who they are doesn't do anything for anybody else. Yeah. And it gets to a point where it's just like what's going on here? We're all divided. We're all spread out. We're all satellites. Yeah. The family is tore down. And it seems like sometimes it's just our culture. Yeah. Yeah. That's being torn apart. Yeah. But we don't see it as that. We think we're looking into other people's living rooms and going, yeah, like everybody's doing this. And it's not. No, it's not. Everybody's not allowing this to happen because they have a purpose for their family. Correct. The leaders of their family have a purpose for their family. A grandma or a grandpa, a dad or a mom, they all have. We have lost the people who give the family's purpose. And therefore we can't keep something going. And I think we have to always remember that we are basically the people before us. Yeah. At all times. Yeah. There's nothing new, really. There's nothing new about you. Yeah. If you really think about it, you are passed down DNA from thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years going. Yeah. You are passed down DNA. You are the person before you, and the person before that, and the person before that, and the person before that. Correct. And we've gotten to the point where I think the whole purpose of some of these the racial situations against us is to break that cycle where you don't remember who you are. True. Yeah. And what your family wants best for your family. We have to always remember that I feel like we're souls moving from one body to the next. Yeah. And it's something like, I feel like if you ever seen the Avatar. Yeah. Right? You seen the Avatar? Yeah. There's avatars before him. Yeah. And it's just like the different lives. There are things you can do in your life that can be different, but once we've lost who we are, once that's broken, and it can be broken by systematic racism, it can be broken by people looking for opportunities to uplift their single agenda. Their single agenda is just to be.
Yeah.
And where does that get your child, your child's child? Where does that get those people after you?
Yeah.
How much benefit is that going to give them?
Exactly. I mean, a lot of times we are not creating legacy. You know, if you think about people on other cultural situations, they build legacy, and that is how they start to prosper in different things. We, as a people, as a community, I'm telling you guys, you need to start building legacy. Need to start looking at not your children for now, them going to college. What happens after they go to college, after they have their grandchildren? They should be settled financially in a situation where they can continue to build. Your house, your next house that you buy should be for them to sell or to go into and to get to another level. We are in this selfish, me, myself, and I can what I can get, and not try to create a legacy for our children so that they can continue a generation of wealth throughout the rest of our lives and their lives, you know. And we got to get to that point where, you know, oh, I don't want to do this for this person, and because they didn't do this for me, or whatever the case may be, I mean, I didn't get anybody in my family who did it for me. But then you have to break that generational curse. And you got to start saying, listen, my child, I need to start teaching them financial literacy. When are you teaching your child how to balance a checkbook, how to deal with credit cards, how to do, you know, if you're not teaching your children these things right now, you are crippling them for the future. You know, you are crippling them for the future. You need to be able to teach them how to deal with finances. If no one is teaching your children how to deal with finances, we do have people that we can get you in contact that will help you with your finances and help you learn to budget and help you learn to get your children on track. Because guess what? College is going to go higher and higher each year. The cost of college is going to go higher. Now, your child might be a person or individual who's slated for college. That might not be their bent. So forcing them to go to college is not always the best viewpoint, depending on what you're trying to invest in. But getting back to this critical race theory is associating the things that are going on in society with our past and trying to correlate them to trying to find a solution. The only way we're going to find a solution is we talk about it. I think Morgan Freeman was talking about said one time that there's no need for us, if we stop talking about racism, it won't exist. Maybe for your life it's great because guess what? You're a millionaire and you're a big time actor, and that's great for you, and it doesn't affect you. People only have problems with things that affect them. Now, if things are not affecting them, they don't care. They have no compassion for it, and if they did, it doesn't come into their play because you know what? Every person subconsciously is really selfish to think just me, myself, and mine. They do not think about other individuals. And in reality, if you're going to work and create something greater than yourself, you need to be thinking about people besides yourself. You know, Elon Musk's wife said, if you want to make $1 billion, help 1 billion people. Figure out a way to help 1 billion people, then you'll make $1 billion. You got to figure out a way to help other people in your life. How are you going to create a legacy within your own? If you can't create within your own family, you can't create within outside of your family. You need to create one in your family and outside of it, so you leave a mark. But go ahead.
You gotta leave that mark, guys. There are too many things that are. Excuse me, y'all.
You get some water, man.
Excuse me, y'all. I have to take a little mini break, get some water.
I did want to talk about one thing about the black family. I saw a statistic that 70% of marriages fail. 50% of those marriages are initiated, divorced by women. Now, I've got to check and make sure that's correct, but, you know, I mean, that means the other 20% is men who are initiating the divorce, but it's 50% of those divorces are being initiated by women. Now, Think about it. If I said to you, you gonna jump out this plane, it's a 30% chance you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it alive. That is a small window to decide to get married. You know, and I've been looking at a lot of videos and a lot of podcasts saying it doesn't make any sense for a man to get married, because if he gets married to a woman, if she gets divorced, she divorces him, most likely she's gonna get half, get alimony, have to put him on child support. There's many men who are living in their basement, have lost all their money, lost all their finances, lost a lot of their self-respect, lost all their materials, and had to go back to the drawing board because they married the wrong individual. But if you start thinking about 70%, that's a large percentage.
Very large percentage, and it's a lot of things that go into why marriages fail.
Yeah.
But like, I think we're my theory. This is my theory, y'all. Don't beat me up too bad in the comments.
Yeah.
Or you can write whatever you want, but your life with.
Correct.
Like you gave yourself away how many times to get to the person you really, really, really like.
Yeah.
They gave away themselves a million times.
Yeah.
Now you got, if we go deeper into this, now you got soul ties. Correct. You're matching soul ties.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys are like, you're bringing soul ties together.
Yeah.
And you don't know you did that.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the soul ties from all your other partners.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And if we go deeper than that, let's get into the DNA. You're sharing DNA with a person.
True.
Okay? If you listen to some of these doctors, some of these people that are out here, they're saying that when you have intercourse with somebody, you're like, their DNA is being shared with your DNA.
Yeah.
And and if their DNA is a culmination of all the people they were with, then you get all those people.
Yeah. You get all those people and all their attributes.
All those people, all their attributes, and people don't pick good people. Yeah. You know this.
Yeah. Because you know, why are you picking the people? Because the people that you're picking to sleep with you.
They have to sleep with you. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say they're not good people.
They're not. You can't say, well, yeah, we can't
I'm not going to say that.
People. But you know what? I'll tell you the truth. This is the thing. I always think it has to do with your self-esteem. Like, if you feel like you are worthy of certain things, right? You don't go around throwing it to everybody.
You don't.
You know, you value it enough where, like, I don't feel like everybody just can't deserve, like, everybody can't meet with the queen.
There it is.
You know, or the king. You can't. It's impossible.
You don't even get to share the same air.
Exactly.
As the queen at some point.
Exactly. And then you got to think about exclusivity. Anything that's exclusive is much more special. You know, so you've got to get to the point mentally where you feel you have enough self-esteem to think that you're more exclusive and that what you have to offer is valuable. Because anything you think is valuable, you just don't give away. You don't give things that are valuable away to people unless you're investing into them and you want to get a return back. But majority of the time, if you're investing your body into them, you're not really getting a return back. You're doing something out of selfishness so you can get a return, which is, you know, you're not to copulate, but just to get that, like we talked about, getting that feeling, that dopamine rush to your body for the fact that you've done something. But then after that is done, you know, you're done.
It's going to be kind of hard, ladies and gents, to be on the other side of being married, single, and you've devalued yourself. Yeah, it's going to be very, very hard to be successful at a marriage and stay together when you've both devalued yourself to a certain point. Mm-hmm. Now if you think about what I'm saying, devalue meaning as in you have lowered or don't have a standard for the person that you're with.
Correct. Or yourself.
Your standard is so low that you don't know you really have one.
Yeah.
You think you can just get with somebody that you feel this electricity with.
Yeah.
You feel this polarity with. Yeah, we love each other. We're so in love. You think that just because you connected on that level, there aren't other places that you're not going to connect on.
Correct. And you've accepted it.
You've accepted it. And that's only one connection.
Yeah.
If I was to put it like this, let's say we had 5 connections between us and our spouses. The one connection that everybody is on is the sexual connection.
Yeah.
Then you have things sometimes you have things you have in common. Then you got emotional cultures.
Yeah, culture. Yeah, culture's big.
Your culture has to match. Your cultures have to sort of you have to be able to work within each other's cultures.
Yeah, that's tough.
You know what I'm saying? Then you have to work within each other's emotions.
Yeah.
Now you got to work. You know what I'm saying? You got to work with that person's brain.
Yeah.
With how they grew up and how they went through things. And my 5th one, I have no idea. But let's say we have. I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Let's say we just had. Let's take that 5th one away. There's 4. Now, if there's a 4 note chord, and you take the. You only got.
Too. You can put spiritual.
Let's say you only got 2. You only got 1 chord that works.
Yeah.
And you pull those apart.
Yeah.
How strong?
Yeah.
How strong is that cord going to be? There is no cord. There's only one thing keeping you together.
Yeah.
So when you have devalued yourself to the point where that one thing is the only thing important to you at first, to get into marriage, you don't have nothing else. You don't have nothing else to keep you together.
Exactly. You're done before you even start. But I want to add another branch on that, which is like spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Because you have emotional, financial, spiritual, and then what you said.
We can go to financial. That'd be my 5th one.
Yeah.
Financially,
sexually, and then culturally. You know, those things are really important because, like, you know, some women, I believe, are motivated by a man's resources, protection, things that he can do in terms of being in the bed, performance. So mostly men's, responsibility is a performance aspect. You know what I'm saying? It's a performance.
If you don't do, you don't get. Exactly. You don't get love. You don't get served.
You don't get served. You don't get what you need as a man. And for a woman, she needs all those things, but at the same time, you know, what does the man get out of the situation? There's one only reason to get married, really, for him is to procreate. You know what I'm saying? Procreate and have children, and have someone, of course, to enjoy sexually, mentally, and emotionally, and all these other things. But it always comes down to finances, comes down to spiritually, are you on the same page? You know what I'm saying? Culturally, like if you have two, like you can have two different, you could have 2 black people, you could have 2 white people, it doesn't matter. But if they're from different cultures, it's hard to assimilate into their culture with their family and vice versa. Because there's expectations with culture. And then they're expecting you to do this. Well, my daddy did that. Well, why don't you do this? Well, my mama used to do this. Why don't you do that? So, and then that becomes a confusion by itself. So you got to be really strong in understanding, like, we've got to, you know, that love, quote unquote, or the chemical reaction or desire. I always feel like it's just like, it's an infatuation at first, but it's a decision on a consistent basis to do it.
There it is.
You know,
decisions.
Because you could decide, oh, I don't love this person anymore. Boom, done.
Boom.
You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times people don't recognize that you got to be committed to commitment. You've got to understand that this is not always going to be a joyride all the time, and you're not always going to be happy. You know,
you're not.
So I mean, then you got to think about it as what do you have to gain or get or to lose? Because you're gonna die alone. People always go, "Oh, I'm gonna die with a I need a person." You're gonna die alone. Nobody dies together unless you go fly in a plane crash. You both die in a car crash. And majority of times you're gonna die either before your spouse or after your spouse. Either one of the two.
It's even in some of these vows that some of us do. And then there's that people don't know their vows.
Yeah, they don't know the vows. They don't take.
They don't take any vows. They don't take any vows.
Oh, really?
Just get married.
And you know that's the thing. People don't take vows, and see, it's all about character and integrity.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
if you can't talk to your partner about character, about their character, if neither one of you knows what your character is, if neither one of you knows what your limit, how far you'll go to get something, what you'll do in an emergency situation. If you don't know that, you probably shouldn't be with someone.
Exactly.
If you don't know what you do, if you don't know what you do when there's nobody looking. When there's no one looking, when there's only just you, what's your character?
Exactly. And I think to be honest with you, people will need to wait until the person's temperament gets out of control. You got to wait till somebody's mad. What are they going to do when they're mad at you? That's what I want to find out. You know what I'm saying? That's what you really need to find out. A lot of people don't realize, like, they're afraid for somebody to get upset. But that's when you truly see what a human being does and what they can or cannot do and what their capacity is. Because, I'm talking about all out upset. Are they going to leave you? Are they going to stay? Are they going to take revenge against you? You've got to understand all these dynamics before you even think about being in a committed relationship, or marriage with an individual. You got to get all those things. And the reason why, guys, we're talking about this is because we really want to start focusing on the black family and uplifting the community and bringing it together. And these are some of the things that need to be addressed that we don't really hear getting addressed, and they're not being addressed because there's small things that we as a community don't really take note of. We have a lot of single mothers. We got a lot of single fathers in jail. We have a lot of deadbeat dads who don't take care of their children. We have a lot of people who are not even deadbeat dads who want to take care of their children and don't have access to their children. And a lot of this, I spoke with somebody today. They were like, oh, well, if for a woman it's not that hard, and it's easier for a man, and it's a man's world. Well, I'll tell you, the court system is not set up for men to help men. I see it all the time. I know people who've gone in a situation and it's set up for women, and that's just basically how I see it, and I've seen it many, many times. Go ahead.
And it's you got to be for real with yourself, guys. For me, it may be a conspiracy or whatever for me, but at the same, in my brain, it goes like this: if you have a culture of people who's had defined roles for thousands of years, and you come in and you change those roles, you have now created a way to rule those people.
Yeah.
Once you have divided that situation, those cultures, once you change their culture and you don't follow that same culture, once you get them to change an entire culture to where now the father isn't the father is the person that's giving you things. Yeah. That's giving you opportunities. It used to be the father used to go out and get and provide and make sure everything was good. Now you take the father out of the house, you get the government to pay for everything or just to help enough to just make it so that when you take that away from them, now we go crazy. We get our women go crazy because they don't have that support anymore. Yeah. And when they get it back, they're thankful to God that this government decided to give them something. Yeah. Because they put away your men, they put them in jail. We got our men we killed the dynamic of the family So now the guy is the woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the women are believe it or not, the women are becoming more masculine.
Exactly.
To a point where they're providing for themselves, therefore they don't need a man. But everybody that has real money, real power, has a structure opposite of what we're doing.
Of course. Yeah.
And we try to pretend like we don't see it because it's a whole bunch of us doing it. It's so many of us that we can't see past the sea of destruction that they've created in our families. And they're at home following the structure that's been getting them, the rich are at home being successful following the structure that they tore apart for us.
Exactly. And that's the problem. We've got to actually see. You actually got to see why these things are taking place. I just want to encourage you guys that, you got to be really, really critical about the individuals that you pick in your life. Pick character over beauty and character over handsome too. You know what I'm saying? Character. Because character is what's going to raise your children. And character and keeping your word is what's going to keep your relationships together.
Fellas, those bodies, those rear ends, those top ends, those pretty faces, those wigs, that's not what's going to raise your kids.
True. That's just candy.
That's not what's going to raise your kids. And we've lost focus of what's next. We're living for today, and then we have things that push us into tomorrow, and we're not ready for them because we're focused on things that don't get us past tomorrow. So we have to start raising our sons and raising our daughters to live for tomorrow, even though it's not promised. But when you get it, you don't want to be in the same place you was 2-3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
Exactly.
You don't want to be in that same place. You don't want your children to be in that same place. We are being thrown into a system that we have been thrown into a system that has held us back financially, family-wise, and it's keeping us immobilized as a people. And we're running around in a circle, believe it or not.
Mentally scarred, emotionally too.
We think we're woke because we talk about Black Lives Matter or LGBTQ, all the letters. We think we're woke because we can just talk about it, or we go out and we can march about it. But if none of these things is helping the person next to you get out of the rut that they are in, you can be yourself all day and still be broke.
Exactly. Yeah, you can.
You can be yourself all day. I don't care what you do. Yeah, guys, enjoy your life. But they're, like we said with the CRT, with the critical race theory, they're creating even critical theory. Critical theory can be applied to everything else. So they're helping us keep a fight within ourselves. And they're at the top doing the same thing they've been doing for years and years. And
exactly.
Years and years.
It's never going to stop us.
Getting money. Yeah. They getting money and they're staying at the top while we fight at the bottom of the barrel.
Exactly.
About color and about color and male versus female and this, that, and other insignificant things in the span, in the overlook of all of life. And with that being said, man, this has been a heavy conversation. Yeah. I have to go decompress after this one. Yeah. And once again, it's the D&D Leveling Up Podcast with your boy King D Money and
your boy D Train, DWT, Dirk Warren Taylor in the house.
You know,
with the most.
You know what? We here to level y'all. We here to level us all up.
Yeah.
Okay? We're here to level up. We're having this conversation because the conversation has to be had. It has to be had. Now, if you guys got some things that you feel we're wrong about, right about, go ahead and write it down in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Hit us up. Ask us some questions. We're with the questions.
Yeah.
If you want to come on and you want to interview with us, and we could talk about some things, we can get into some things. Come on.
Yeah. Send us a DM us.
DM us.
Facebook.
Write us on Facebook. We also have Anchor. We also on Anchor's on Spotify. So you guys, if you got Spotify, get on that. We're on
Apple Music, right?
Apple Music. We're going to be on all platforms very, very soon.
Coming to a theater near you.
Y'all keep watch out for us.
Yeah, man.
We on our way.
Trying to help y'all out. Be encouraged.
Be encouraged. Keep your head up. Even though all of this talk that we've been talking, keep your head up. It's the conversation to elevate us as a people.
Exactly.
All right?
Do your homework. Check it out.
Check it out. Even if you don't believe, go check it out on your own.
Yeah. Check it out. You got to start encouraging yourself and start realizing people don't want to be woke, but I don't really perceive like even these movements like Black Lives Matter and all these other stuff that are going on. How is it moving the needle forward? Is it just something to just placate us and make us feel self-satisfied that we have a voice? Like people stop marching eventually, right? I don't see any more marches now because people are satiated. Marches are great and they're good. They get attention. But what is it that you actually can do to change the dynamic? You see white people marching, helping out, which you have white allies, you have different people, Hispanic allies. All that is great. But listen, until you get yourself in a position of power like the LGBT community is doing and affecting change from within the system, you're not going to get anywhere. You got to start voting. You got to start voting your people in. You got to start putting yourself in power positions. You got to start pointing the finger. Stop telling people, oh, it's black women against black men and black women and black men are disenfranchising each other. No, stop all that. I see people sometimes, and I'll be done off this rant, is I'm seeing a lot of times a lot of like groups of black women disparaging black men about what they're doing and what they're not doing. That is not uplifting us as a people. You can't create division and also create unity at the same time. Like, oh, what's your responsibility? What the black man's responsibility? He's not doing this. Or the black woman's responsibility, she's not doing that. You need to cut all that out. That's immaturity. You need to start coming together, finding solutions, and stop worrying about, well, he's a leader and he should be able to get us out of this situation. There's too many things in place to make sure that there's disunity so there can be no leadership. The last time we had a leader of any quality was either Malcolm X or Dr. Martin Luther King. You don't see any of those individuals coming up in this 21st century anywhere. You don't see anybody like that. And so you got all these scattered people who are wannabes, but no one's actually willing to give their life like these individuals, because those people are actually serious. All you people out there who are disparaging each other and the leadership, you're all about talk. You're not doing anything about it. You know, you got to try to find solutions, and solutions are not creating more problems within. You need to come together, and then you need to have some type of focus, and then you need to start getting solutions done. It's not about arguing between each other about what we do and what. This is not a blame game. Forget about the blame game. People in the higher authority or the elites want you to continue arguing with each other over stupid trivialities, so that way you can be separate and you can't accomplish anything. Stop that. You know, when I see people doing that and they sound so intelligent on which go, oh, well, the black man did this or the black woman did this. And you know what? Get out of that. That's not going to move the needle forward. Start focusing, you know, and I do this in love, and I hope y'all understand and hear my heart. I love y'all. I hope we all come together as a people and we continue to keep leveling up. Peace.
And on that note, peace.